Hi, my name is Anna Kytonen-Coffman, and my final project is called Staffing Structure Redesign. So I am currently the Conference Center Assistant within the Humphrey Conference Center within the Humphrey School of Public Affairs here on campus. And my project basically just kind of involves a current problem that we are facing in terms of staffing structure and in terms of kind of how we want the conference center to operate and how kind of just what aspirations we have for the conference center and what problems are hindering us. So the problem definition I have is a redesigned staffing structure and permanent support from key roles is needed in order to accomplish goals and carry on with processes that benefit the conference center and educational institution as a whole. So basically, this is kind of a complex problem, and my project focuses on breaking down that problem and figuring out what pieces of those problems or what piece specifically we should address first, because we won't be able to tackle this problem in its entirety due to its complexity. So I chose to use the KT situation appraisal in terms of my problem-solving technique. And the three problems we have are the first is receiving little support from the director of facilities and events when the conference center and manager is out of the office. The second is lagged retirement of our current AV technician. And the third is not having enough funds to staff current events with the conference center assistant and event staff hours that are currently budgeted. So the conference center assistant is 20 hours a week, and event staff who do morning, evening, and weekend events is 30 hours a week. So for the first problem, timing is high, trend is high, and impact is high. So the next process would be the KT decision analysis. And basically for this problem, because we don't have support from the director, most of the responsibilities fall onto the conference center assistant when the conference center manager is out. And this is definitely due to the conference center assistant knowing the operations, knowing the processes, knowing the rules and policies, and kind of just being the conference center manager's right-hand man. So it's made sense previously for the conference center assistant to take on these responsibilities, but because the position is currently filled by a student and not a part-time or full-time professional, because it is only a part-time student position, technically these responsibilities should not be put on the conference center assistant. So the problem that we have right now is that we need, within this problem, we need the director to support the conference center until that position moves to be full-time, and just so the director can kind of get a better sense on how the conference center operates, because right now there kind of is a lack of understanding for the conference center, even though that piece of it is within her job description and the role she's supposed to fill. So I decided that would be, of those three problems, the problem that needs to be addressed. And so based on that, the solution I generated was that there just needs to be a conversation about needs and expectations before that role can kind of be filled by the director. So needs would include checking email and responding to email in a timely manner on the day the conference center manager is out of the office. It would also include being the on-site contact for the client and or clients and then guests of the event on the day the conference center manager is out of the office. So this would include following up, checking in with the clients, making sure they have everything they need, getting the event started, shutting the events down, kind of all of the daytime event operations that the conference center manager would normally do would be held or managed by the director. And then also other questions, either email or phone calls and requests from our different clients and inquiries that we receive would also be handled by the director on the day the conference center manager is out of the office, and this would include being responded to on that day instead of written down and having the conference center manager or conference center assistant respond when they are able. So right now that kind of is all being handled by the conference center assistant, and so the solution would be to transition those to the director. The expectation then would just be that the director is in charge. Right now it's definitely the conference center assistant, and so the transition would be the director would be in charge, main point of contact for everything, and then also the expectation would be that the conference center assistant, if that person is in the office would provide support to the director, because there definitely is some information and some knowledge that really is in the hands of the conference center assistant and that the director is kind of unaware of. So definitely, especially during the transition of putting those roles and responsibilities onto the director, the conference center assistant would be, when in the office, expected to support but not take over said roles and responsibilities. So just some things I learned, especially within the organization where I work. I've learned that it really is complex. There's a lot of different departments and a lot of different moving parts on how the school operates and how our conference center operates. And so this also leads to the idea that problems are complex, and usually there aren't just one or two factors of the problems or source of the problem. Usually there's again just a lot of different moving parts, and so leading from this, solutions also are not just as simple as a snap of the finger. A lot of times it does take collaboration, cooperation, compromise, and negotiation to find a solution that will work for everyone. And that, also means that people and organizations and the moving parts will need to be flexible and adapt and know that the right solution will probably not be determined right away. It will take some trial and error, so to speak. So this is the Humphrey Conference Center website where you can kind of learn more about the Conference Center, how we operate, as well as the Humphrey School of Public Affairs and some of the different people we work with in terms of making decisions for the Conference Center. So thank you for listening.